everyone, thank you for clicking on this video. Great to have you here. The point of this video is going to be to show you what a week of workouts looks like for me. Specifically right now for this whole month, I wrote out a plan, so I'm doing a split and I have a different workout every day, but I'm doing the same ones every week, if that makes sense. So I figured I would do it all in one video. So I'm starting today because it is Monday, and today I hit glutes and hammies, everyone's favorite. I'm on my way to the gym to do that. So I will see you guys there. So the very first exercise I'm doing is a hip thrust. It's probably the most important thing you can do when you're trying to grow your butt, but I start with lower weight, and with each set I increase it. And recently I've been really trying to make sure that I pause for at least a second at the top and really just squeeze my glutes. Next up are split squats, and for this I try to do my weaker leg first, so if you have one I would recommend seeing how many reps you can get on that side and then doing the same amount on the other. And for me that is 8 reps, and I do it for 3 sets. Next exercise is single leg RDLs, and I'm using a dumbbell here. I choose to keep my opposite leg on the ground. As you can see, my left leg, my toe is touching the ground. I do this because I don't have the best balance, so I'd rather keep that on the ground so I can focus on the actual movement and not worrying about trying not to topple over. Next are glute bridges, and the sweatshirt under the dumbbell is just to give my hip bones some extra cushion, and I added a resistance band above my knees so I could do an abduction as well. It's a pretty short range of motion, so you want to make sure you're really squeezing at the top so you feel it. That plus the abduction will have your glutes burning. Next are cable pull-throughs. They're pretty self-explanatory for the most part. I just slowly go down until I feel a stretch in my hamstrings, and then I pull through and I squeeze. I also want to mention that you want to have the pulley parallel to where you're pulling from, so you don't want it on the ground, you don't want the cable going up diagonally, you just want it straight across. Next is the glute hamstring developer. This is also pretty self-explanatory. I just go down slowly and then come back up to the top and squeeze. You can add weight if you like, I didn't, but if I would, then I would use a plate and hold it across my chest. But these do burn like crazy, so that's why I don't usually use weight, and if I do, it's not a lot. To end it, I use the outer thigh machine, and I do hip abductions in 3 different stances. The first one is sitting straight up with my butt at the edge of the seat. I do this for 15 reps. The second one is leaning backwards, and I can only get 8 reps for this. And then the third one you will see is hovering, kind of leaning forward. I just feel them in different spots in each way, so that's why I like to switch it up. And I will do these for 3 sets to end the workout. Morning guys, it is Tuesday, which means it's a pull day. So we're hitting back and biceps. Hope you're excited. The very first exercise that I'm doing are lat pull downs. I usually start with my warm-up set and do pretty light, and then for the last couple sets I try and push it a little heavier. But with this you just want to make sure you're coming down slow and controlled, really squeezing at the bottom. I even like to let my lats kind of stretch a little bit at the top, if you can see there. But yeah, I do 4 sets of these. The next exercise I'm doing is a low row, and I actually superset it with a different grip, which means I go back and forth in between sets. But the first variation of it that I'm doing is a wide grip, as you can see, and the motion is somewhat similar to a lat pull down in terms of really squeezing at the back and letting it stretch out. And again, you want it to be slow and controlled. This is the other variation that I do of the low row. I use an underhand grip, and my hands are also closer on the bar. I would say the main difference between the two is that I feel this in my biceps more, but I'm also doing this for 8 reps and 4 sets. Next are bicep curls with a bar. Usually I'll be able to get 10 reps for the first couple sets, and then towards the end I am struggling to get 8, but when I choose a weight I make sure it's one that I'm able to do for the entire duration of the set, and if I need to drop down for the next set I will. Next up are bent over rows using the bar. Similar to the lat pull down in the low row, again, I want to let my lats stretch out at the bottom and then pull up and squeeze. I really want to feel my back doing the work here and not just my arms. Next are single arm bent over rows using a dumbbell, and recently I've been trying to go with a lower weight to focus on actually being more controlled with the movement, because before I would just kind of go super heavy and throw it up there, which defeats the purpose. Here we have Zottman curls, which are going to burn your forearms, hence why I'm using 12-pound weights. I don't think I could go too much heavier than that without failing at like 3 reps, so I definitely recommend using a lighter weight for this, but if you've never done these, I promise you will be sore the next day. To finish off this pull day, I'm doing assisted wide grip pull-ups. I need the assistance, obviously that's why I'm using the machine. I find that the wider grip, the more I struggle, so the more added weight I need. But I just do these until failure and I try to get 3 sets. Happy Wednesday, guys! Today we are hitting quads. Hope you guys are ready! So the first exercise I'm doing today is leg extensions. I think based on the video it's pretty clear on how to do them, but I like to start with these just because it gets the blood flowing into my quads. Definitely burns, but I think it's a pretty good warm-up. Next we have single leg presses, and I like to use this leg press machine instead of the other one where you're seated close to the ground, mainly just because it has that hole where I can put my other leg through it. But with these I try to get to at least 90 degrees or even below as far as my range of motion, so I feel it in my glute as well as my quad. Next are sissy squats. I use the Smith machine and I move the bar down to as low as it goes, and I make sure that I'm facing away from where the hook is because I'm putting all my weight on the bar, if you can't tell, so I wouldn't want to be on the other side of it because it might snap off. I also put the pad on so I have some extra cushioning between my calves and the bar. Next thing is a sumo deadlift, which has become one of my favorite things to do lately. As you can see, my legs are pretty far out and my toes are reverted. I'm also bending my knees instead of keeping my legs more straight because that would hit my hamstrings, but here I want to feel it in my quads, so that's why I'm dropping my butt down more. Next exercise is Bulgarian split squats or rear foot elevated split squats. I also struggle with these because my balance comes into play. That's why I'm only using 20-pound dumbbells on each side, but I do these for 8 on each leg for 3 sets. Last but not least, we have the inner thigh machine, and I feel like this hits muscles that I don't target very often, which definitely is a good thing. This is why I like to finish with this on my quad days, and I'm doing 12 reps for 3 sets. Hello everyone! Today might be my least favorite day of the week. It's push day, so we're hitting chest, shoulders, and triceps. It's still gonna be a good one, so I will see you there. To start the day, I'm doing a chest press. I guess you can also call it benching, but I don't really consider it benching if I'm using the Smith machine. But regardless, it's the same motion, and like a lot of other exercises that I do, I start with lower weight and add more with each set. So next I'm shoulder pressing, and there's a bunch of different ways you can do this, whether it be with dumbbells or even standing. You don't have to do it exactly like this. For the first couple sets I'm usually able to get 10 reps, but then I get more fatigued and probably can only get 8. It just depends on how much weight I'm pushing that day. Next we have a front raise using the cable machine, and I actually superset this with a different grip, but this is the first variation of it. As you can see, the weight is super light, but this burns like crazy. Only able to do 8 reps, especially when I superset it with the next variation, which is underhand grip or supinated grip, whatever you want to call it. But again, I'm doing 8 reps for 3 sets, and I just go back and forth between the 2 different grips. Next we have upright rows. I chose to do this on the cable machine, but I've also done it holding a plate before. There's definitely a bunch of different ways you can do it. They all work. Again, I'm just focusing on slow and controlled reps and really squeezing at the top because I want to feel my shoulders doing the work. Next up is single arm lateral raises, and I'm also using the cable machine for this, but you could use dumbbells too. And as you can see, I'm gripping the cable machine just to keep me more stabilized, and this is another exercise where I can't do a lot of weight. The last exercise for today is single arm skull crushers, and as you can see, I'm kind of holding my tricep a little bit. I do this to keep my shoulder stable because the only thing I want to be moving here is my elbow, and I also like to feel my tricep flexing, so yeah, that's why I do it. Hello everyone, today will be the last day of the week. It's Friday. Once again, I'm hitting mainly glutes, a little bit of hammies. My gym is actually closing. All of Pennsylvania's gyms are closing tomorrow, so I really lucked out with this video because this is my last lift of the week. Anyway, I will see you guys there. Once again, I'm starting this glute day off with hip thrusts. Like I mentioned, it's very important if you're looking to grow your glutes, and based on my goals right now, I think it is important enough that I do this exercise twice a week. Next up is Romanian deadlifts. Similar to the cable pull-throughs and single leg RDLs, I really want to make sure I feel that stretch in my hamstrings on the way down. These will make my hamstrings extremely sore, that's why I only go for 10 reps in 3 sets. Also, this is another exercise that I start off lighter and increase my weight with each set. Next are sumo squats, and just like the sumo deadlifts, I have my toes everted and a pretty wide stance. I'm really focusing on my depth here and trying to get as low as possible. That way I really do feel this in my glutes. The next exercise is single leg elevated glute bridge, and just like the glute bridge I did on Monday, I really focus on squeezing at the top and I like to come down slowly. I didn't add any weight here, but you definitely could if you wanted to make it more challenging. Next is single leg hip abductions using the cable machine. I think this one is pretty self-explanatory for the most part. I don't go too heavy in it, and I'm doing 10 reps each leg for 3 sets. Here I'm doing goblet squats using the cable machine. I like how the cable machine works for this exercise, but you definitely could use a dumbbell if you prefer that. I try to get pretty close to the machine, that way my weight's going straight up and down, I'm not leaning back at all. I have a decently wide stance and I make sure my toes are pointed out again so I really feel it in my glutes. Again, I'm finishing with hip abductions on the outer thigh machine. I'm doing the same 3 stances that I did on Monday for the same amount of reps and then 3 sets. Guys, so that was the video. That was what a week of lifts looks like for me. Usually on Saturdays, then I would do a little bit of cardio, so I would bike for 20 minutes, and I also did a little bit of abs. But it's crazy how much has changed since I started filming the video because, like I said, my gym's closed, so I don't have access to that, but I have been lifting with one of my friends, and I'm still able to do the majority of what I was doing before because he has a barbell, plates, dumbbells. The only thing he doesn't have is like machines, so we've been trying to work around that and use resistance bands and just get creative with that. But yeah, that's what I'm currently doing. I hope that was helpful. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.